Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today is another day of the DIY farmhouse tips and dupes. Um, Today we're going to make a framed piece of art signage for our house. Now that one was $40 and it's huge. Don't get me wrong, this one's not going to be as big, but we're going to go with this look of whitewashed wood with a gray whitewashed border, and we're going to use these craft sticks. These are the craft sticks that are the tongue depressor size, and we're going to use a piece of art from the Dollar Tree, and I found this wood filler at the Dollar Tree as well, and we're going to use that today. I'm going to show you how to use that today. I'm going to show you both options. We're going to use the glue gun as well as our scissor and or craft knife, depending on what you prefer. You also need a pencil, which I don't have a picture of. And to make the whitewash, we're going to use some white craft paint as well as a teeny tiny touch of black craft paint and water. And that's how we're going to make the gray stain. Okay, so unfortunately I started to do this without the camera on, so you only just missed one side, but I'm going to show you everything. Very similar to the project we did the other day where we framed with popsicle sticks. We're going to miter our joints, but what we're going to do here is we're going to do, this is a wraparound frame. So basically we're going to do the sides as well as the frame on the front. And what we're doing here is, with these sticks are a lot longer than the other ones, so you only need 2 per side. And what you can do is you're going to start off by cutting a straight edge. I'm not doing fancy edges on the outside. Like I'm not mitering 45 degrees or anything. We're just cutting it straight on. So what I've decided to do was to butt up the side pieces to the bottom of the actual artwork. And then when I get to the top and bottom pieces, I'm going to overlap the sides. Okay, so basically just like we did before, you cut off a straight edge, you put it on one corner of the side, you get a second popsicle stick, you overlap and mark and make those lines even. You know what, in case you didn't see this, let me start over. So what we're going to do is you're going to take your scissor, you're going to cut a straight edge on one of your craft sticks. Okay, and then you're going to take a second popsicle stick and you're going to cut a straight edge on that other end. Then you're going to overlap their uncut edges. You're going to pick a line on the top one, draw a line where they overlap, cut it, then you're going to put the top one back on, mark the second one that goes underneath it so that you can get an even, whatever direction the line is, butt up line. Okay, now like I said, we did the sides first and we made the sides flush with the bottom of the canvas and the top of the canvas, and then when we're doing the tops, we're going to overlap that piece that went on the side. Does that make sense? So we're not butting up to the edge of the canvas, we're butting up to the edge of the popsicle stick. We're butting up to this, like where so we're overlapping the popsicle stick. I think it makes sense when you see it here. Now I did want to show you that if you overcut it or anything, you can trim it up with your scissor, but I don't want you to get in the habit of doing that way because these popsicle sticks can split when you cut them, and I'd hate for you to have to do all of this and then have it split on you. But if it was a little bit over, then you can go ahead and trim it on when it's already glued on there. So then what you do is, as you see, we overlap the one side, we overlap the other side, and then we mark the similar line in the middle, cut it, use the one, overlap the other one to make the same line and cut it even, and then butt the ends up. I feel like I'm not making any sense. Let me know if I'm making sense. I think you guys could see it pretty good. So as I'm saying it, as you're seeing it, as I'm saying it, does that make a little bit more sense perhaps? But each one of the sides, we're going to wrap the sides first, and then we're going to wrap the front. And how we do the front is exactly how we're going to do the sides, where we're going to, the top and bottom, which we're going to overlap the existing edge of the popsicle stick. Okay? So once we finish this bottom, now I'm going to show you how wood filler works on this, and then I'm going to leave one seam without it, just so you guys can get an idea of how the whitewash look would look with both. I do personally like the salvaged wood look of having the seams. I think it's very country, very farmhouse, very handmade, and that's what this style is all about. And you know, these canvases come in all different prints and all different sayings and all different things that you want them to say. I just love this one that said "Bless our nests." I love the very neutral feeling, even with just the touch of green. Even that touch of green still makes it feel very neutral to me, which is, you know, goes really well with my decor. So now we're going to go to doing the front. And now if you watch the other framed artwork that we did the other day with the Imagine print, this is going to be very, very similar. We're going to miter our corners first, overlap our sides. But again, because these popsicle sticks or these tongue depressors are longer, we won't have to do as many pieces across. But you may have to, so you can refer to that other video. If your piece of artwork is much bigger than this, you can refer to the other video on how to section in pieces, but it's pretty much the exact same. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to miter a corner. How we do that is we overlap two popsicle sticks on the corner, and we're going to make sure that their rounded edges are hanging over, and then we're going to draw a line from the inside corner of the overlap to the outside corner of the overlap. We're going to cut on the line, and once we have that piece cut, we're going to lay that on top of the piece that we left that wasn't drawn on, and we're going to make sure we line it up with the edges, and we're going to draw that line over that second popsicle stick, pick it up and cut it, and then we're going to dry fit it before we glue anything. Okay? And you don't want to glue anything until you have both of the corresponding pieces cut. Okay? So you don't want to glue it if your top piece isn't done, your left piece isn't done, your right piece isn't done. You know what I mean. Okay? And we're going to repeat that for all of the sides. Now again, don't forget to overlap to cover the existing popsicle stick that's on the side. Okay, see how we've overlapped that? We've covered over that side piece of popsicle stick. And we've done that to make it look more like a finished boxed frame. Okay? And then here is a close-up of how we do the corner. Now, I wanted to say also that a lot of people use the Jenga blocks, the Dollar Tree Jenga game for wood. That would look really cute as a frame as well. It would give you much more thickness, but it would also add a lot of weight, a lot more expense, and a lot of seams. If you're going to paint it, it doesn't make a difference. But if you're going to stain it, then be mindful that that's going to show all those different variations of the graining and stuff. Right? So once I have that piece, corresponding right piece is glued down, the corresponding left piece is cut, I went ahead and I glued it. Made sure I lined up the point with the corner, but I haven't glued the next piece yet until I make the side piece, okay? So that's what you want to just continue around and be mindful of your next piece before you glue down your first piece. You'll never be able to overlap and draw the same line when it's glued down. And that's really what it's all about, trying to match that angle. Now, I was contemplating, like, maybe I didn't want this frame to be as thick on the front because the art does kind of go almost towards the end of the canvas. But it's okay. I ended up really liking it. I really felt like it was a lot of farmhouse country homemade decor is repurposing items. So to me, it almost looked like I was saving an old, paint, what am I trying to say? Like an old mural that was on a barn board. That's what it looked like to me. That I was saving it and repurposing it and framing it to make a new life to it again. All right. And then we're just putting a bead of glue. I actually tried not to glue the front of this to the popsicle sticks to the front of the canvas. I was actually trying to glue the popsicle sticks just to the other popsicle sticks. Like I ran a bead across the edge. Just in case I ever wanted to change it out or snap them off. I didn't want to do too much damage to the artwork. But that's, again, you know, if you're just going to keep it, then forever, then don't worry about it. Again, this is one of those inexpensive things that you can do to personalize any of the Dollar Tree art. Maybe a canvas that you even have at home of some other kind. Something that you might have, one of your kids might have painted. Just a nice way to do a country farmhouse frame on some existing artwork using just popsicle sticks. It's funny because when we were growing up, we used to use popsicle sticks for crafting all the time, didn't we? Did you make that jewelry box? Did you make different teepees and camping tents and stuff out of popsicle sticks? The log cabin. We did all those when we were growing up as well. So who knew that when we got older, as adults, we'd be playing with popsicle sticks? I'm just saying. I'm very happy about it. And we're going to come around. This is going to be our last side, so bear with me. We're almost there. The home stretch. The other thing I wanted to tell you guys is that you could do this with those boxed frames. You know, some of the art is on stretched canvases, which is what this is and what the Imagine thing was. But some of it is like wooden boxes, like they're hard. And you could do this with them as well. In fact, those would be a lot easier because the popsicle sticks would glue much easier to the existing wood than it would to the canvas. But this is managing fine. Okay? And another thing I mentioned in the last video that I wanted to touch on again is that you can also stain these with wood stain using Dollar Tree products. Melissa from 4 Quarter Crafts, hi Melissa, actually was the first person that I've ever seen to use the shoe polish as wood stain. I'm not saying she created it. She always says that too. She's like, I'm not saying I invented this, but she was the first person that I've ever seen use shoe polish as wood stain. But the Dollar Tree also does sell magic markers that are in the hardware section that are for scratch filler, and you can use those as stain as well, as long as you keep in mind to test them beforehand, because they do test a lot darker. Okay? And now we're going to whitewash it. Now, again, I was saying originally I was thinking I did want to stain it. I wanted to just leave it, make it a dark stain. But I went ahead and I decided to make it gray because I thought it would really enhance the barn board look of the back. Okay. And now this is the wood filler. This wood filler is, like I said, different than any wood filler I've used before. So I'm squeezing a little out on my mat, and I'm using my finger and another tongue depressor popsicle stick to spread it into all of the cracks. Basically what I do is I put it in the crack, and then I take the side of the popsicle stick, almost like you're icing a cake, and I just drag it across and wipe off all the excess wood filler, just leaving what's in the exact crack. Okay? Now that space that's there on the side, that's the one I'm going to end up leaving to show you guys how it doesn't look objectionable. To me anyway. You can decide what you like, what look you like best. But you want to make sure that your wood filler is stainable. Wood filler comes usually in two, stainable and non-stainable, paintable and stainable. The stainable, of course, is a special thing that makes the stain soak into the wood filler as well as the wood. So now I'm just taking a tiny bit of sandpaper. You can use an emery board here if you don't have sandpaper. And I'm just evening out all of the bumps of the wood filler. I'm just basically, I let it dry about 5 minutes. This one dries pretty quickly. And then again, I'm using some sandpaper and just cleaning up the edges. And never forget the very important coffee breaks. Take them as needed. Okay, and now that's all dry, I'm not going to recreate this stain for you because I made it for another project. But what it is I've watered down some white craft paint. I've actually taken an old white paint bottle. I added a tiny, tiny drop of black to it to make the gray that I want. The best thing to do is to take a toothpick, put a tiny bit of black at a time, and then mix it until you get the color that you want. It's very, very difficult to add white to black, to lighten black, but it's a lot easier to darken white. Okay, and then once I've done that, I added water to it, and I really watered it down a lot. I wanted to use this paintbrush, and then I realized, Jerry, you have white paint on that paintbrush. It's not going to help. So I went ahead and I resorted to the handy dandy paper towel. So I've just taken a piece of paper towel. And what you do is when you're staining something, if you've never stained anything before, you basically wipe it on to get a coverage, whatever kind of coverage you want, and then you wipe it off. You wipe off all the excess, and it draws the grain out. Basically, it soaks into the wood, and then you can see the grain come through, and it's basically like a weathered wash on wood. All right, and that's what this gray is to me. It reminds me of weathered barn wood. Plus, my house is gray, so I mean, most of, what is it? 80% of the rooms in my house have gray walls. Okay, and don't forget to do the sides. Since we made a total frame on this, then you go ahead and don't forget to stain the sides as well. And I wanted to show you, I took one seam that I actually wood filled in the front board to the top board, or the edge board. I did that for you as well, so that you can see what it looks like when it's filled in. But again, I like it in pieces. I feel like it's a very, very country farmhouse, homemade feel to it. Okay. And the great part about this kind of whitewashing stain is it takes almost no time to dry. So you can handle it right away. And that's this one. I hope you really, really enjoy this. I love it. I think it came out so pretty. Jim even told me he really thought it was cool and couldn't believe I did it with popsicle sticks. So if you have any questions at all, leave them in the comments down below. Give this video a thumbs up, share with friends and family, and anybody you know I might be interested in making this or any of them in the series. And if you haven't yet, click subscribe, and when you do, a little bell will pop up. When you ring that bell, YouTube will let you know whenever I upload a new video. And as always, take care. God bless. See you next time. Bye.